I thought it was recording.
Camera 2.
Can I do a timer?
Has fallen on its ass.
Hi everybody and welcome to the next episode of Knights of the Round Table. Shut up, I forgot what number we are again. Today we are discussing the book The Evil Lord's Handbook by
Dark
Paul...
Lord's Handbook.
Dark Lord's Handbook! Damn it!
Would you like to go again?
No! Dark Lord's Handbook by Paul Dale. I got that right, didn't I?
I have no idea. I'll find out.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Paul Dale.
Let's see here.
And I'm sitting here today with a special guest, Garth.
Paul Dale, who has asserted his moral right to be identified as the author of the book.
Oh dear. So I'm going to start with general impressions of the book. What did you think of it?
I thought, generally, it didn't know what it wanted to be.
Oh really?
Yes, I think just reading it, it didn't know whether it wanted to be something more serious, whether it wanted to be a comedy. It kept hitting beats and then dropping them. Not in the fun sense, but in the, it didn't know what to do with them. It had comedy moments that it just went nowhere and were immediately undercut by moments that belong in a more serious work. Plus, I don't know, the characters had no motivations, the people had no idea what they were doing. Like, there was just it was a lot of mess with a good idea underneath it.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that at all from reading this book. I had a blast. I thought it was very funny. I was giggling all the way through. There are some very, very funny moments, and then there's some not so funny moments. And the whole premise is sort of bizarre, but it worked. And it worked also as a satire on certain situations that modernity has been through, so I really liked it. I really enjoyed this read. I'm gonna purchase the book to have on my shelf. I enjoyed it that much.
Well, that's one way to go about it.
it.
I have to disagree with you.
That's
all
okay.
Over the place on that one.
You're allowed to. Oh, sorry.
It wasn't incompetently written, I will have to say. It was decently done. It looks like it's had a bit of editing, although I did see some problems with that. But for the most part, the characters were so very empty. I mean, with the exception of the Chancellor.
The Chancellor was a really interesting character.
The true hero of the story.
Was he the true hero?
He was the protagonist.
He was the protagonist, not...
He was absolutely the protagonist of the story.
He was not the hero, though.
No, but...
I would argue, particularly because there's something that he said that was later reiterated by the Dark Lord's Handbook itself. Which is, it's not about good or evil, it's about self-interest.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is part of the entire thing, because the designated hero in the story is a psychopath.
Yes.
Being mind-controlled by a magic sword.
To be honest, I really liked that, though.
That was a clever idea.
It was. And
I will agree with that. But, as for the rest of it, like the Dark Lord Morden, Mr. Morden himself, couldn't help it. Had to read his name in Londo Malari's voice every time. Doesn't matter. He has no ambition, really. He's got no personality. He's going to be a Dark Lord, but he's going to be a Dark Lord because people are telling him to be a Dark Lord. He's like, oh, that might be a fun thing to do on the weekend. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but...
I'll go along with that, sure. What do I got to do now, book? Alright, okay, I'll do that. Like, it's completely empty. It's meaningless. And I guess that's what it was going for, but it's not a good character. And he's supposed to be someone we're having some sympathy with, clearly, from the narrative, but I didn't. He was just a complete nobody. And, he's a half-dragon, Dark Lord, whatever, but there's no meaning to it. There's no struggle with it. There's nothing. It's just... What does it say next on the checklist? Okay, yeah, I'll go do that. Sure. Who's doing this now? Okay, yeah. Alright. There's just... He had no personality to him pretty much at all.
I actually liked Morden.
He could have been great. He could have been
You are
great.
accurate in that there doesn't seem to be any conceit behind his character other than, okay, so I guess I'm going to be a Dark Lord. What happens now? But that's part of why I liked it. I liked that he was a very intelligent, but otherwise ordinary guy. Apart from the whole half-dragon thing.
See, okay, I didn't get that he was intelligent. I got that we are told he's intelligent, but I never saw any of that.
Okay, well, it's implied that he's intelligent. But I liked that he just seemed like fairly normal despite everything, and that his counterpart, the hero, was weird and bizarre and completely psychotic in his single-mindedness to go save... What was her name?
Griselda?
Griselda. There we go, that's the one. And I liked that juxtaposition, because you're like, holy crap, this hero, who you would normally be cheering for, is nuts! He's insane! Get rid of him! And then, so that immediately put me on the side of the rising Dark Lord.
Well, see, that's the problem. It's not two opposing sides there. You're not on the side of the rising Dark Lord or the side of the hero. That's what the in-story
is about,
evil versus good thing is wanting you to do.
Yeah.
To join sides. When it's really, neither of these two men are in control of themselves or their own destinies. They're just kind of wandering through life. I mean, the hero is being pushed by insane, mind control emotion that's being fed
channeled
to him
through the sword.
Through the magic sword. And it makes him completely miss what's happening in front of him and make up something in his head, something supposedly heroic, to justify what's going on. He kills his own grandfather, and it's just like, oh, he fell asleep.
No, he killed his own grandfather. How cruel of the fates to take him away from me from a heart attack, and you're like, you crushed him to death, you moron.
The woman he basically, kidnaps and rapes, runs away from him. She must be kidnapped! I have to go save her!
She has been abducted, and then the plot twist at the end, which drives him absolutely mad.
Yeah.
That made me giggle.
You didn't see it coming?
Of course I saw it coming, but when it was finally realized, I giggled.
It was fairly frickin' obvious. But by that point, honestly, the story had meandered off into La La Land. Morden had even less purpose than usual. It's like...
and you know what? I enjoyed that. I liked that he was shoved aside by this other Dark Lord, and then at the end, when he was supposed to be doing all the Dark Lord stuff, he's like, well, wait a second, wasn't that my line? What the hell is going on? I really enjoyed that about Morden.
But, okay, see, the thing is, that was actually, again, a nice idea that went nowhere. Because he had no reaction to it. He had no reaction to the fact that, okay, he's looking at another Dark Lord fucking up in all the ways that the book told him not to fuck up.
Yeah.
And he's thinking, all right, I know the lines here. I know, and it doesn't occur to him at that point, and this is part of why I think he's not intelligent as he's supposed to be. It doesn't even occur to him that, okay, if this is happening, and this has kind of been predicted to happen by the book, and it's all that, why am I following this script? Why am I going to be this Dark Lord that the book wants me to be?
Because he's going to do it differently.
He's not going to do it differently. He's going to do it exactly the same.
No! See, now you're just projecting, though.
No, I'm not. This is what he does. He then puts on the robe, mind controls the girl, and starts being exactly what the other guy was.
Well, not entirely exact. I was upset about that ending, by the way. I thought it could have been done so much better.
It could have been done so much better, but the way it was done was kind of consistent with the entire thing, that Morden has no personality. He's just doing what he's told the entire time.
Yeah, but wouldn't you, if some orc just randomly showed up and started calling you my lord, or in my case, my lady?
I'd think it over first.
Really? Because I'd be like, I'm going to be a queen? Okay.
Yeah, okay. That part is cool. It's
right?
You want me to be a Dark Lord? Well, I've always kind of liked ordering other people around. I'm absolutely going to do it. But then to turn off his brain the moment he gets a magic book, like...
But that's the counterpoint, right?
Yeah,
It's not really Morden versus Edwin.
No, it's never been that.
It's book versus sword.
And it's not book versus sword. They're both kind of essentially on the same side. They're both working on the same narrative.
That's true.
It's nobody... No, you know what the real conflict of this book is? That's just a sideshow. The real conflict is Lady Deathwing versus the Chancellor.
Which was cleverly done.
Which was... it was interesting, but it would have been better...
The dinner... I didn't like the dinner. But the lead up to it was quite well done.
I don't think it's that well done. I think...
I thought it was.
It was a lot more... See, the problem is we aren't focusing on the Chancellor. He is the protagonist of the story, but we need to see a lot. We needed to have the story be about him from the beginning.
No, I don't think it would have worked quite the same.
I think that's the only way.
I liked the comedy of errors that was Edwin and Morden.
Well,
that was way more interesting to me than any dull research that the Chancellor would have done.
That's the problem. It's all dull research the Chancellor would have done. But if you wanted to make it an interesting story, you turned it into something political. You turned it into the Chancellor actually having to do things rather than fart around in his garden and order Chiswick about to do whatever he wants him to do. No, to have him actually get into sort of things and show that he's able to talk to people and manipulate things and actually go around. That would have been a much more interesting story.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been as funny.
It wouldn't have been as funny because that half of the story is the story where it's trying to be serious.
Okay, we're going to cut
and the half where Morden falls on his face into a cow patty is where it's trying to be funny and not succeeding.
No, there were other bits where it was funny, but we're going to cut there. Okay, I love the number of nods that there were to other stories, like the orcs saying that the white hand is an orcish symbol from way back in the day. I almost fell off my chair laughing at the Lord of the Rings reference.
God, the number of references.
It really made for an enjoyable read.
Well, because the base idea is that it's a story about cliches.
Yeah.
And it's a story about tropes. And... I mean, it didn't work too well to that angle, but it did have...
I disagree, but keep going.
It had references everywhere, like all over the place to various things. And yes, I caught the White Hand of Saruman. I caught a bunch of others too. I can't remember them all right
I know.
now.
I forgot my notes. I'm really mad at myself because I listed all the ones that really made me laugh. It was very funny.
It didn't make me laugh. It was just, I see what you're doing there.
Oh,
I
no,
see
it made
what you're
me
doing
laugh.
there too. I see what you're doing there. Yes, I get it. You have read the Western canon. Okay. Let's move on to some
that was the other one. A dark
things.
power is rising in the east. That was the first Lord of the Rings reference that they put in the book. And that was when I really started to laugh.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the base, like, that's what the book says, you know? It'll just talk about a dark power in the east, a shadow falling across the land.
Yeah, etc., etc., etc.,
like,
yeah.
all of these things just mean there's a Dark Lord coming up. Whatever, let's move on.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that.
Okay, I liked those sections where the book was the titular Dark Lord's Handbook was actually talking about things that a Dark Lord should expect to happen or was going to happen, or all the tropes and cliches. It was discussing the standard high fantasy tropes of the hero versus the villain, and but like making fun of the hero every step of the way, and villains being complete morons as well, like standing there and monologuing. It's like, you gotta learn how to monologue, just never do it when the hero's around.
Never turn your back on the hero. They have extraordinary luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if your minion comes back and says the hero is dead, and you have to ask them, how exactly are they dead? And if they say they left them in a pit of piranhas with blood all over them,
kill your minion and string him up as an example.
The hero's alive. Keep going. Like, so, it discussed all of that, and it did use it, but it would have been, another time, it would have been a much better story if it focused on that.
Well, that was a very large part of it.
It was a decent part of it, and I didn't actually enjoy those parts, but the actual story part of the story falls flat. Comparatively.
Well, yeah, okay, comparatively. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it did read a lot like a comedy of errors, so there were a lot of bizarre happy accidents that happened all the way through the story, but I didn't really take that as a fault because it was so much discussing tropes.
I don't see it
and
all.
Happy accidents are
I think
basically every plot point ever in any book ever. So
a lot of it didn't seem to be actually happy accidents so much as the pushings of fate towards certain things.
Well, yeah. Well, they gave that impression, but
and then straight up manipulation in others.
And straight up manipulation in others, yeah.
Like, the entire thing, happy accidents. I didn't actually see
as in plot point happy, not as in the characters are happy.
One of the base points, straight up from the prologue, is that this is not just the universe working this way normally. There are two opposing cosmic forces, good and evil, cosmic good, cosmic evil, whatever.
I love that they were on talking terms too.
Of course they're on talking terms. They're just
better luck next time.
And the two of them are pushing things. Like this sword is pushing Edwin, and the book is pushing Morden. And they're essentially causing all of these things to happen. So, old orc dude who originally gave Morden the book jumps in front of the assassin at exactly the right time.
Well, that's what I mean.
But we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
This was not a happy accident. This is not like Deus Ex Machina. This is, okay, in the world of the book, this is supposed to happen. This is a standard issue. You can't kill a Dark Lord while he's rising.
Well, yeah, but then that's also part of the making fun of the tropes thing that the book was doing.
That is kind of making... actually, no, that wasn't making fun of the tropes. That was playing it absolutely straight.
No, I didn't read it that way at all.
No.
I didn't read it as playing it straight. It was, this is what's going to happen.
No. That's it. See, remember, all the characters in the story take these absolutely seriously. So it was played absolutely
It wouldn't be funny if they didn't take it seriously. But I don't think it was written to be absolutely straight. There was a wink there for the reader.
There wasn't a wink there.
There was a wink there.
You're imagining a wink.
No, you're imagining straightness when there wasn't.
Absolutely straight. It was played absolutely straight because in the world of the story it's played absolutely straight. It would have been much more of a wink if somebody had made an ironic comment on it, but nobody ever does. The only ironic commenter in the entire story is the book itself.
Right? That's the wink. Because it totally said before that scene happened, you're going to need minions to throw themselves in front of you for when people try and take your life. And then it happened and you're like, yeah.
Okay. Except this was less a minion throwing himself in front of it and more the reverse of the standard hero mentor dying for the hero.
Well... how is that even a reverse?
It is a reverse, because normally the hero has a mentor, and the mentor at some point will jump in front of the assassin to save the hero, so the hero has more motivation.
Yeah, but again,
this is what made Morden get up and actually Dark Lord.
Right, that's the playing with the tropes, though. It's making, because the hero is a complete... psychopath.
If you're going to make it a comedy, you've got to do that sort of thing, and you've got to point it out. It wasn't pointed out. No, it wasn't.
It was. The book immediately foreshadowed it, and immediately it happened.
It did not foreshadow the right thing happening. See, if the author intended that to be foreshadowing, he did it wrong.
No, I disagree, because it's exactly what happened.
It's not exactly
and
what
happened. But that's what I like about this book too, because it flips the tropes. It flips the tropes. So the Dark Lord is actually more of a hero than the hero, because the hero is a completely bloodthirsty psychopath.
Yeah, the hero is a completely bloodthirsty psychopath, and the Dark Lord is just doing what he's told by a book. So
like
he's
a hero is doing what he's told by his king
and that
or his
is
mentor.
Good if it had been played up.
It was
flipped. It was not played up. It was just presented and moved on.
But it was flipped. Like the narrative for the Dark Lord is usually like the narrative for a hero. Some relatively ordinary guy with some secret parentage rises to power and gets all these people to follow him. In this one, the Dark Lord is a relatively normal guy with some secret family heritage, gets all of these orcs, and what he's doing is actually quite heroic. What he's doing is emancipating a people from slavery.
Yes, and that would have been good to actually play on, but you know what? Especially in the last part of the book.
But they did play on it because...
it fell apart!
They did play on it because it's the Dark Lord. I'm actually going to free all you people, so awesome source. The Dark Lord was played as the hero. It was a trope flipped on its head. That's what the book did. That's why it was funny.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It tried to be funny. It
no.
wasn't.
The only things that weren't funny...
It couldn't commit, and it wasn't funny.
The only things that weren't funny for me were the actual obvious slapstick comedy moments, like the landing in cow poop, or whatever.
Yeah, that was what made me realize he had no idea how to do comedy.
But he did, though.
He didn't.
He did. There were so many places where I was laughing, or at least smiling.
No.
Yes,
No.
I was laughing, or at least smiling.
Well, that's because you have a bizarre sense of humor.
Okay, I'll agree to that. Yes, I do.
However, look, I don't feel the story did any justice to itself because it wasn't committed. It wasn't committed to being funny. It wasn't committed to being a serious narrative, and it wasn't committed to any of the ideas that it was putting forward. It was just throwing them out there as a grab bag of
See, I disagree,
tropes.
but that's because I find the funniest comedies are the ones that are played the straightest. Like, I don't like a lot of North American comedy movies because it's just a bunch of buffoons running around. But smart comedies that are played straight, like Hot Fuzz, which is a straight buddy cop movie, but it's also incredibly funny. That's what I find funny. So this is probably why I found this book funnier. Okay, so one of the problems I did have with this book was the treatment of Griselda, who was really just there to be an annoying but pretty feature. And that irked me some.
Yeah. Just like every other character, she had hints of being a real character in there. But
no, but she was the only one who didn't.
Really?
Really?
Really? You didn't notice like all the things that she went through, talking about like what she wanted and stuff?
Well, yes.
You
But
missed that?
No, I didn't, but it was only there as sort of a way to try and feel sorry for the Dark Lord rising,
No,
who might be this henpecked guy because Griselda is such an annoying contrarian character.
Yeah, okay. She is a contrarian character.
But just for the sake of being contrarian.
See,
That was my problem.
I didn't see it as just for the sake of being contrarian. I saw it as exactly like a lot of the other stuff in the story, for the purpose of illustrating tropes.
Well,
She serves as the damsel in distress, and
yeah.
she's also
Which I like
supposed to be. The author, from what I could gather, is trying to present her as one of those empowered women types that show up every now and then, that are contrarian because they have their own opinions and they.
No, but she wasn't contrarian because she had her own opinion. She was contrarian because she liked the Dark Lord and didn't want him to know.
I think you're completely wrong about that.
It says it in the text!
No. He believes it.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't mean it's true.
Except that whole argument that they had in the prison of the Dark Lord. What is his name? Zool?
The Zune.
Zune. There we go. Zune. Oh, sorry. I was thinking of Ghostbusters. Zune.
There is no Zune. Only Zune.
She was really the only thing that irked me a lot about this book. There were some things, like some of the more slapsticky moments, which I suppose would entertain an 8-year-old. I just found them daft. But I was laughing at everything else.
I could agree that the book could have done without her. Absolutely. She wasn't a real character, but then again, no one else in that room was either.
I really liked the Dark Lord's confusion right at the end. It made me giggle. Like the whole, that's supposed to be my line. What the hell? I don't understand anything that's happening.
I didn't see it as confusion. I saw him as like looking and finally seeing what was going on, and then it went nowhere. Like he started understanding the way everything was kind of swirling around these tropes that he had already read about. Like he was ticking off the things that the book was saying like Zune would do, and is ticking off the things the book saying that Zune shouldn't do, that Zune was absolutely doing.
Right at the end, right before he starts mind controlling everybody, when what's his name, Christoph, reveals that he's the hero's father, and he's like, wait, that's psychological warfare I'm supposed to be performing. What is going on?
See, it didn't strike me as him being super confused, as being bemused by it all, because at that point he'd emotionally shut down.
No.
Yeah.
No, that was when he thought Griselda
he thought Griselda was dead, so he emotionally shut down and was like, that's why he put on the robe and decided to become a Dark Lord.
And then she got up again and he's like, oh, she's alive!
No, he wasn't. She's alive. He was just, okay.
Oh, see, I didn't read that at all.
No, like, he really didn't. He didn't react at all to that.
Was there something that you really liked about the book?
I told you what I really liked about the book. I liked the actual sections discussing tropes from the book.
Okay, fair enough. Final.
I did giggle at the 2008 financial meltdown part.
Yes.
That was
pretty funny. Boxes. What? The box market.
The box market.
Yeah.
It's like, so what's in the boxes? No one knows. What happens if you open the boxes? Well, the entire economy crashes. Oh well, we can't let that happen. If only it was so easy to burn down a warehouse and get rid of all of the crap that we had. No.
Yeah, really. Alright, so final thoughts on the book.
Final thoughts?
Although I think we can all guess.
We can all guess? It was okay. It wasn't a good book. It wasn't a bad book. It was okay written. It had a lot of problems. I would never put it on a great books list. And I bought it because I bought it to read it. But if I had the chance to buy it again, knowing then what I knew now, I probably wouldn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just wasn't worth it. It was a good base idea that was poorly handled. But, it wasn't badly written.
I disagree. I really liked this book. It was funny. And I liked how it turned the tropes on its head. And I liked how it made certain points the Dark Handbook and the Chancellor, the Dark Lord's Handbook and the Chancellor were in agreement. And it made you wonder who really was the bad guy. And I am definitely buying this in paperback if I can find it to put on my shelf. Star rating?
2.
Oh, wow. 4. I really enjoyed this book. Alright. Pick the next one.
And the next book is written in cursive.
Yeah. Would you like me to read that?
I think I'll try it. Give me a sec. How to Flirt with a Naked Werewolf by Molly Harper.
Excellent! So in 2 weeks' time we will be discussing the book How to Flirt with a Naked Werewolf by Molly Harper. If you have any thoughts on the Dark Lord's Handbook, do leave them down below. We will also have a discussion up on our Goodreads book club page. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks guys, and thank you Garth for sitting in on this. Bye! We're going to cut there, so hold that thought.